Welcome, everybody, to this regular council meeting of January 26, and I can officially call the meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. And with that, we have full council tonight. Isn't that exciting? And Deputy Mayor Armour, would you mind reading the land acknowledgement statement, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of Anishinaabe under the terms of Roberts and Huron Treaty Number 61 of 1850 and the Williams Treaties of 1923. We commit to acknowledge, learn, educate, create opportunity, honor sacred places, and take action towards real truth and reconciliation in support of our commitment to walk in the path together in respect, peace, and harmony for future generations. Miigwech.
Thank you very much for that. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so we're going to move right along to our invited and ceremonial presentation. We do have one, and it's Rebecca Denard, is that correct, hopefully, from Climate Action Partnership to give us an update and overview of the Better Homes Huntsville project that we've been working on for at least 5 years, and I'm very excited to hear your presentation. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Is that Mike good? Great. Excellent. Yes, well, thank you very much for having me here today. We've got the slides. Is it? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Yes. So I am the manager of energy programs with the Climate Action Partnership, and I'm here today to give you an update on Better Homes Huntsville. So just a little bit about the Climate Action Partnership. It's an Ontario-based charitable organization, and we enable communities to create and implement bold climate action programs. And Climate Action Partnership is the program administrator for Better Homes Huntsville. So today we're going to be going through a little bit of the program need and benefits. So why are we doing this? I'm going to run you through some of the program operations, talk some about the eligible measures and incentives, and then some available support for you as council as well as Huntsville staff, and of course answer any questions you have about the program. So a little bit about the program need. Why are we doing this? So there are a lot of older homes in Huntsville, and unless they've been renovated, they haven't really kept up with building code upgrades to things like air tightness, insulation, and energy efficiency. So we're trying to address some of that need. There's a rising energy cost. It's cold out there, and the average Huntsville resident spends about $3,500 on their energy bills annually. This means that 48% of them are energy burdened, which means they spend more than 6% of their income on energy. And 10% are in extreme energy poverty, which means they spend 15% or more of their income on energy. The Canadian average is less than 3%, so that just gives you an idea of where you're at. We also are dealing with a changing climate. So homes need to be resilient to extreme heat, severe storms, and flooding, which we are going to be increasingly common. There's also the issue of money leaving the local economy. So dollars spent on your gas bill or your hydro bill don't stay local in your community. So we're hoping to get some of that spending more local. So some of the program benefits is sort of solving some of these problems. So we're looking to create more energy efficient homes, reduce greenhouse gases in that residential sector. This is sort of one of the few programs that you can really use to tackle that. Is a residential program like this. Reducing energy poverty, you see that map on the side there. The darker the brown is the more energy impoverished areas. But most of the Huntsville is sort of in that 3 or higher zone. We're looking to make climate resilient homes. We're looking to support aging in place so that people have a safe place to stay as they age, and stimulate that local spending and job creation. Okay, so here's the long story to tell, this long-awaited program. Better Homes Huntsville collaboration started in November of 2020, before I was with Climate Action Partnership, and yeah, predates perhaps some of you as well. And we did the design and feasibility, completed in January of 2022, and submitted a application for capital in September of 2023, and got a conditional offer of funding in January of 2024. Had some legal things to work through with the district, so ended up with an agreement signed in March of 2025, which is really when we started kicking it into high gear towards launch, and looking for program launch, which is now. We are launched. We are ready to go. Applications are being accepted as of now. This is the moment. So, little overview of the operations. So, this program will run from now, January 2026, till December of 2029. We're looking at about 7.3 million loaned out to Huntsville homeowners to help them with their home upgrades. 5.3 million is coming from FCM, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and 2 million is coming from Huntsville. This is recoverable debt, so it will be paid back to you as the homeowners repay their loans. This will get about 300 homes retrofit, with the average retrofit costing about $2,700. The exact number will depend on how many we fit in. You know, some projects will be bigger or smaller, so we may get slightly more or slightly fewer homes depending on the size of the projects. There's also a $2.67 million operating grant from FCM, and this includes a loan loss reserve. If anything goes sideways with any of the loans, that's what happens. That covers by the loan loss reserve. There's also close to $900,000 in homeowner incentives. That's to help people sort of get a head start and a boost, particularly for low-income households, and to support decarbonization and deep retrofits. This also pays for an energy coaching service, which helps the homeowner throughout the process access not only this program, but any others that are currently available or may become available in that time period. Okay, so exactly how does it work? It's based on an LIC or a PACE program. So LIC is Local Improvement Charge. PACE is Property Assessed Clean Energy. They mean the same thing. LIC is more commonly used in Ontario. PACE is more common in other parts of Canada and the US. So it's all homeowner driven. The homeowner applies to participate in the program, and then the application is screened to ensure that the person, the property, and the plan retrofits all qualify for the program. And as a program administrator, we're doing a lot of that work and screening those applications. And then Huntsville provides a low interest loan at 2.5 fixed rate for up to 20 years, and this allows the homeowner to undertake those renovations. Then there's a pre and post retrofit energy assessment to make sure that those savings have been achieved. And then the homeowner repays their loan through their property taxes. So the loan remains attached to the property and not the person. So if they move or they don't stay in the home, then it's passed on to the next homeowner. Okay, a little bit about program roles. So the homeowner, there's the one, they apply for the program, they engage the contractors, they decide who they want to work with and what they want to do, and then they make payments through their property taxes. We're working with EnviroCenter, who has a lot of support in the energy coaching and customer support. They already run the programs in Ottawa and Lanark County and the city of Peterborough, so they have lots of experience talking to people through these programs. They are also help to ensure that the renovations meet the program requirements. Climate Action Partnership, that's us. We set up the program and we administer all of the, just making sure all the nuts and bolts work. We also do all the program promotions, which you'll see hopefully coming out tomorrow, and do the program reporting to FCM. So make sure that we're tracking all of their metrics that they need to be tracked, all the finances that need to be tracked, and yeah, as well as sort of the more qualitative things. Huntsville, you hold the funding from FCM, so you're responsible for that loan relationship, and then you loan the money to the homeowners and collect the payment through the property taxes. So what kind of things are we talking about? What can people do? We're looking for at least a 25% energy reduction for participating homes, and that gets us into the scale of rather sort of bigger projects. You know, if someone just wants to swap out a couple of windows, we figure they can take care of that themselves. This is like looking at a more complete home retrofit. So the minimum total project cost is at $15,000, and the maximum financing is at $40,000. So the projects will fall within that window. 80% of the funding needs to be for energy efficiency measures, but 20% can be for other things. So if you need something like a panel upgrade, electrical panel upgrade to be able to put in a heat pump, for example, it can cover that. It can cover things like addressing some basement flooding issues so that once you put the insulation in, it's not going to just get wrecked by the next time your basement floods. So those sort of side along and supporting measures are also can be in that 20%. Things like cosmetic upgrades, routine maintenance, appliances aren't eligible because those are sort of out of scope for this program. Okay, so incentives. This is where people can get some some extra money to support their projects. We're really trying to give the most generous incentives to the income qualified people. So if you're a low income person, you can get incentive equal to your interest costs up to $10,000. So this makes it essentially a zero interest loan for a low income participant. We also have a decarbonization incentive. This is for homes heated by natural gas, oil, or propane as their primary heating. If they eliminate all fossil fuels, so that's getting rid of their furnace, well, not getting rid of, but replacing it with an electrical option, that eliminates, as well as their water heating or cooking appliances, they're entitled to that $5,000 incentive. And then there's the straight energy reduction incentive. So that's anything over that minimum 25% requirement. And it's a sliding scale. So whatever you end up producing between 26% and I think it caps out at 55%, you get an incentive that's kind of equal to that. Okay, so just a few examples to walk you through, just to give you an idea of how this might work for actual households that happen in Huntsville. So this could be an older couple, retired on a fixed income. They notice that their house is quite chilly and that there's drafts by the windows and that the basement floods every spring, and they would like to do something about that. So they're looking into putting in attic insulation, basement insulation, waterproofing that basement, as well as some window upgrades. So let's say the total project value is $30,000. Now they're able to access an external incentive. Enbridge has a program right now for attic insulation, and that's $1,250. So they get that off the top. So their total loan amount is that $28,750, and they're amortizing this over 20 years. They may not be in the house for 20 years, but that's how long they're making the payments go. So their total interest is just over $8,000, and because they're income qualified, they get an incentive that is equal to that interest. So the total amount they need to pay is just the $28,750, which works out to an annual payment of about just over $1,400 a year. And the thought is that because they've really upgraded their home, that their energy bills will decrease, and so that it works out that they're paying a little less than they used to overall because they've had this upgrade to their house, and they're more comfortable and they're able to stay in their home longer because they're not having to deal with their flooding every year. All right, another example would be a young couple. If they've just bought a new house, they're new to the area, they've just moved in, and they have a house that's on oil heat and they want to switch it out for electric. They also have an EV, so they need to put in an EV charger. So they can take advantage of this. Enercan right now has an oil to heat pump incentive, which is $10,000. And because they're switching off of fossil fuel, they also get the decarbonization incentive from us, which brings their total loan amount down to $20,000 from a $35,000 project value. They want to pay this off a little more quickly, so they've decided they want a 15-year amortization instead, which makes their total interest $4,400, and then their total amount that they were paying is $24,400, and their annual payment is just over $1,600. So that's another example of how it could work. All right, just a little bit for you to know where to get more resources. The Better Homes Huntsville website has all this information and more. And there's some contacts for you. The info at Better Homes Huntsville goes to EnviroCenter. So that's really direct program questions like, is this eligible? What sort of the program logistics? That's my email. So that's for sort of any sort of program administration questions of how these things are working. And of course, there's David's email, who's been instrumental in helping get this program off the ground. Couldn't have done it without him. He's been fantastic to work with. There's also a 1-800 number, toll-free support that connects to EnviroCenter to answer questions about the program. So if you just want to talk to somebody, I don't want to muck around with emails, that's the way to go. There's also there was a handout in your council package, and we also have copies here for you to refer to. This is your cheat sheet if somebody sort of stops you in the grocery store and starts asking questions. That's what you need to know, but really we want you to direct people to our website because we'll have more answers than you will on things, so we can help them out there. So things you could do is tell your friends and neighbors. You're all well-connected people. You can tell the people you know about it. That would be great to spread the word. Direct the people to program website for more information. If people have problems or issues, I know people often come to council to address anything they've got. Please let us know. Please contact us so we can help them work through the problem, whatever problem they're having. And then if you have any suggestions for channels for which to help us get the word out, we're using sort of standard town social media and whatnot. But if you know a really great group who would like to know about this, we'll be happy to present. Yes, all of you are great. Yeah. Great places to know about it. So yes, happy to take questions.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. And I just want to say I'm ahead of you. I spoke at the Lake of Bays Lake Association annual general meeting last Saturday.
Fantastic.
And this was one of the things I talked about.
Great.
I'm really excited about it. I certainly have a couple of questions, but I know council does, and I'm starting with Councillor Cluche.
Through your worship, thank you very much for coming. I'm just wondering, is there price points for contractors to work by? We all know that contractors, some are a little bit more expensive, and we want to make sure that the homeowner's getting their bang for the buck.
Yeah.
And it's the money that we're lending them. So we want to make sure that they're like, a lot of smooth talker contractors going out there, and we want to make sure they get their money for it. And is this open for landlords to do if they're renting the property?
Right. Good questions. Yeah. So to address the first one about, pricing of things. So the energy coaches have worked with many homeowners on many projects. They've got a good sense of what things cost. We even have kind of on our back end, like sort of estimates for what we think a project should come in at. If it comes in at something that seems like, well, that's crazy high for that project, the energy coach will encourage them to go get a second quote for something. It's not required to get a second quote if they've got, okay, I know I want to work this person, they've done good work in the past, I just want to go with it. It's ultimately their choice, but the energy coach will flag it for them if this seems like a quote that's a little on the high side, and encourage them to go get another one. But then the homeowner will decide if they want to go for the higher quote. That's up to them. They can decide to do that. We also don't require them to take the lowest quote, because sometimes you get, we don't want sort of chuck in a truck sort of situations either. So you had a question about yes, and landlords, yes. So if we want houses that are occupied year round. So we're not making it eligible for your sort of Airbnb seasonal rental types. But if it's, I own a house and I rent it to somebody, that is absolutely eligible. It's maybe not as, they're maybe not as interested in it, because we're also making sure that they don't jack the rent. The idea is that they would have to sign something that says they're not going to increase the rent based on the fact that they did this project. Because we don't want to make this an excuse to like make rentals more expensive. So if they don't pay the utilities and they can't increase the rent, they may not be super motivated to do it, but we would be delighted to have them in if they want to.
Thank you for that. Councillor Stone, followed by Councillor Clark.
Thank you. So getting the word out, presumably that the boots on the ground are the contractors that are working on those houses that are leaky already, both top and bottom. Would it be prudent for us or you to reach out specifically to the list of contractors in Huntsville?
Yes, we did. We did. We actually have, the town had a contractor info session. I think it was in late November, early December. We presented to that group, and we're going to follow up. It's on my list to tell them it's launched and like ready to go. Yeah.
I fully expect to, when David does his report in 10 to 15 minutes or whatever, we might have some of those answers as well as to what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Councillor Clark.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Alcock, and thanks for your presentation. I just had a question about the loans.
Yeah.
So if the homeowner defaults on their loan that we're holding, what is the town's recourse in that situation? I mean, we know that things are tough right now out there, and so I just wouldn't want to see us in a situation where we've got a bunch of money out and we're not able to get it back.
Yeah, fair question. So the homeowner gets their money in two chunks. They get you get 50% when they sign a property owner agreement. So that's the loan agreement with the town. And that's a legally binding document which allows you to recoup the money from them through whatever, for whatever, through the normal mechanism, what you do if they had unpaid bills. It outlines, you know, the normal sort of consequences for any time that a homeowner would owe the town money. So that's what you do if they take if they take the money and they're like, great, now I've got all this money and I don't know, don't upgrade my home, I just take the money and run. That's the recourse there. Is they've signed a property order agreement says they have to give back the money if they just don't renovate their home. Now, if they get to the point where they get their second disbursement is when when you're agreeing to put that local improvement charge on the property, and now that's collected through the property tax. And if they don't pay that, it's the same consequences if they don't pay their normal property tax. It's just included in that property tax. And if it really gets to the point, you can put a priority lien on the home and collect it the same way as you would if they had back taxes that they were owing, and you can get it back through that mechanism. It's based on an experience of programs across the province. It's really rare that people get to that point. What can happen sometimes is they take the money, they say, oh, I'm planning to do this project, and then life happens and they don't for whatever reason, and then they just return the money because they couldn't do their project. There's usually not that bad faith thing that happens, but there is mechanisms to deal with it if it does happen.
Great, thank you. Councillor Fitzgerald, followed by Deputy Mayor Armour.
Thank you, Worship, and thanks, Rebecca, for coming. I think it's fantastic that we've done 300 homes. You mentioned that Energy Star appliances don't qualify in the retrofit. It is in the picture.
I know it's in the picture. You
So,
the picture.
okay, that's the question. Have there been any instances where people have undertaken all this stuff and they didn't achieve the energy savings, and now there's no grant situation for them?
Right. Yeah. So for our own incentives, we get we will never say we said your project's going to achieve 25% reduction and it actually achieves 23 when they do the measurement at the end. We're not going to say, oh, sorry, too bad, you don't qualify anymore. We thought it was going to achieve 25. We modeled it at 25. We're going to keep you in. We're not going to cheat you out of it at that point. The energy saving incentive for things above, that's why it's on a sliding scale. So say we modeled it was going to achieve 32 and it actually achieves 31. That's the difference between you got $2,000 or you got $2,100. It's not a huge, we try to make it that sliding scale so people don't get super upset if they get a percentage higher or lower than we modeled, but we don't ever kick people out because they didn't achieve what they needed to achieve.
Just to follow up.
Yeah.
So there was no instance where people didn't receive the grants.
That's right.
Okay.
Not from the municipality. So from the external incentives, I would have to there's different ones have different qualifications, but it's they're mostly based on the product. So if you bought a triple paned window, you get this much for this window, you get that much for that heat pump, and as long as you bought the thing that you said you were going to buy, you get your money. It's not based on energy modeling like ours is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Deputy Mayor Armour.
Thank you, Worship. Very, very quickly, I'm just wondering about the low income or cost.
Yeah.
So is there a price range that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
prevents someone from applying to this program?
So for what are the low income thresholds? Is that what the question?
Low income compared to high income. So if
Oh,
someone
I
makes
see.
200,000,
Yes.
and they still apply.
They still apply. Yes. Yeah. So there's no upper limit cutoff. They don't get the low income incentives, but they're eligible for the other incentives. Yeah. Yeah. There's no, and part of the reason for doing that is that if we were going to do that, we would have to check the income of every single applicant, which is sort of an invasion of privacy and a lot of paperwork.
Rebecca, you mentioned earlier the 900,000.
Yeah.
Is that money to be used for if presumably if people are interested in doing this, they need to get an energy audit done?
Yes.
So does that come out of that 900,000? Does that help people get, started with the thing? Or-
Right.
Because they're
So-
not cheap necessarily.
Yeah. So the energy audit can be included as an eligible cost in the financing.
Right.
And for low income people, we're looking for a way to get them get that paid up front.
Yep.
For most people, we don't pay it up front because there's a large risk of people just being like, great, I got my energy audit. I'm not actually going to do anything. I just got a free audit.
Right,
And nothing
but
actually
for
happened.
low-income people.
For low-income
it
people, we're looking to try and
they would
get
be
them a path
incented. Right.
to
okay.
get that energy audit paid in advance. Yeah.
Perfect, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see any other, and you've answered a cajillion questions. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
you're very
and we'll
welcome.
probably ask them all over again.
That's
when
okay.
David comes forward to do his report. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, so we are. Okay. Okay, we don't have any deputations tonight, so I'm moving right along to council minutes. And I do have a motion moved by Councillor Renwick, seconded by Councillor Clark. Be it resolved that the following council meeting minutes be adopted as printed and circulated. Special council December 3rd, 2025, regular council December 10th, 2025, planning council December 3rd, 2025, and planning council January 14th, 2026. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that carries. All right, moving right along to reports from committees, and we have 3 tonight. Starting with the Huntsville Public Library Board, there were meeting minutes from November 7th. And Councillor Cluche, anything to add?
No, that's per written.
Okay, great. I did note one thing in the minutes, and I thought it was interesting. I think they've decided to revert back to the number of meetings they'll have per year is every other month.
Yeah,
with the
they're
addition of one.
just, it's been hard to fit them
all the
all
time.
in, so that's what they've decided to do.
Okay, so that seems
Yeah.
like a good move.
Well, and some of the meetings have been short.
Right.
You go in there and
So
it's,
you can
know,
get more done.
So you
if
can get
it's-
more done than virtual now, if anything comes up. They decided to do that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Cluche. All right, no questions regarding that? So I'll move to 7.1.2, Downtown Huntsville BIA, and it's so weird reading the minutes from November, right? It feels like they're talking about the Christmas tree lighting coming up and all of that. So Councillor Renwick, anything to add?
Thank you, Your Worship. Nothing really to add, other maybe just to highlight. It was back in November that these minutes came out, but at that time the BIA was already talking about the curling club and the 125th anniversary that's coming up, and that happens to be coming up this weekend. So that's the Croaky Curl downtown that we approved, and then also the events that are happening at the curling club. So lots of activity. The 55 Winter Games also mentioned in the minutes. That's happening February 2nd to the 4th. And the middle night of the games, there's about 1,000 athletes will be downtown, having dinner downtown and enjoying some activities down in River Mill Park. So the BIA, again, partnering with the Winter Games. So that's in there. And then just to plug, they also mentioned it as well, but the Cedar Canoe Ice Rink that's in River Mill Park, it is up, it's functional, and every weekend there's activity going on down there. So a bit of a BIA/events update for council.
That's great. Thank you very much for that. And the opening ceremonies of the 55 plus, is that February 3rd?
February 2nd.
February 2nd, okay.
Third?
Third, okay.
I should know
Okay.
that. It's the 3rd.
Okay. Since half of you are involved in all of that. Councillor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Worship. Through you to Councillor Renwick. How successful were they in securing sponsors for the rink this year?
Well, thank you for the question and through you, Your Worship. Obviously, the Cedar Canoe bookstore has sponsored the entire rink. I believe they have sponsors. All the boards are, there are boards sponsored, but I don't know the exact number, but I can get back to you, Councillor Fitzgerald, if you'd like. Absolutely.
It would be nice to share with the community, I think.
Okay, thank you for that. I don't see any other questions. All right. The next one and last one for committees, 7.1.3, the Huntsville Municipal Accommodation Tax Association, HMATA. We have minutes from November 24th, 2025, but I understand, Councillor Morrison, you sent regrets for that. Is that All right, so we all read the minutes. All right. If there are any questions, we'll have to follow up with somebody. All right, then with that, we are going to move right along to reports from municipal officers. And in fact, we have one, we have two, I thought. We have one. We're starting with one. David Zilke's joined us with Julia McKenzie regarding report number Corp 2026, The Better Homes Huntsville. There we go. And this is the number 4 report. Over to you two. And
Thank you,
this is for information once again.
Yes, this is for information. I'll get started, I guess, and Julia, jump in. So Rebecca's presentation covered pretty much everything for the program itself, as far as what you need to know and be aware of for speaking with constituents and to understand the program and to be able to help champion it. The report that's in front of you details this in a written form. It also provides some helpful financial context that Director McKenzie added to it. As Rebecca mentioned, the program website is now live on betterhomeshuntsville.ca, and we can accept applications as of now. So if you get home and you're very eager, you can please feel free to jump in, and it'll get sent to Rebecca's inbox, perhaps. There will be a targeted press release coming out tomorrow morning, just to answer the previous question about information for the public, along with a social media campaign that's going to be starting over the coming weeks. We're really hoping that this is something that's going to pick up and gain some traction, particularly with how cold it has been over the last few days. And I know I saw my first energy bill after moving, and I'm certainly of interest of this program. The last thing that I'll say before I pass it off to Director McKenzie is just to say that, to echo what Rebecca has said, but in reverse, that it's been an absolute pleasure working with CAP. Rebecca and her team have been incredible throughout this entire process. Her expertise and guidance has been really instrumental in putting this together. And I know she answered quite a number of questions, but I'm going to volunteer her again in case you have more while she's still here. But of course, I'm happy to do my best to answer as well.
Thank you. I'm just here more for moral support and any
Okay.
questions,
Oh,
and also
good.
because
And
I'm very
that's
excited.
a good thing. That's a very good thing. Thank you for doing that.
We brought this report forward first in 2020, so
I
it's
can't
been a long
believe
time.
Rebecca, I was around during that time, and I remember being very excited, thinking it was happening the following year. But here it is. And just a very quick question. Are we the only Muskoka lower tier municipality doing this, or
Yes, we are.
we are?
And I did speak with Rebecca, and I don't know if she has the numbers, but we had one of the highest for the grant program that we got. So the funding that we got, we did very well on it. So that's exciting too.
That's very exciting. And how many times I can hardly wait. This is so great. All right. Are there any questions of either Julia or David? I think
Just one thing I forgot to mention that I just want to highlight too is that this has been a collaborative effort amongst staff internally.
Yes.
I've had calls with 10, 12, 15 different individuals from across departments and across teams, and it's been really fabulous to be part of that effort and to see everyone coming together on this. It will be because everybody pitched in that this program is successful, and just to highlight that for all the directors in the room, that your teams have been incredible throughout this process. So thank you.
And I'm very appreciative of you saying that. I think that is very good to know, and not that I'm surprised, but it's really nice that you've highlighted that. That's great. Bravo team. Bravo team. So, any other questions? Well, we look forward to tomorrow and the launch. Thank you all for all of the good work. Really appreciate it. Okay, so moving right along to our second item. And Michael is here, Parniak, to talk about report number OPS-2026-1, the Noise Bylaw Exemption District of Muskoka Infrastructure Project on King William Street. And I do have a motion, so I'm going to read it before you start, Michael. That's okay. It has been moved by Deputy Mayor Armour, seconded by Councillor Cloutier. Be it resolved that Council approve an exemption to the Town of Huntsville Noise Bylaw number 2018-155 to facilitate the District of Muskoka's King William Street Infrastructure Project. And further that the exemption permit construction activities during nighttime hours and weekends beyond the 4 consecutive days authorized under delegation of authority bylaw 2025-66, and further that the exemption remain in effect for the duration of active construction of King William Street, subject to the discretion of the Director of Operations, ongoing coordination with town staff, and the implementation of public notification and mitigation measures, and may be modified, restricted, or revoked should conditions warrant. And with that, over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much and good evening. Sorry about that long motion, but that's sort of the best we could have done. So as the report indicates, the District of Muskoka is undertaking quite a significant project. It's associated with some funding and housing initiatives as well. It's the stretch of King William between Scott Street and Highway 60. So as you could imagine, it's going to be, it'll be invasive to the town. But our idea, the district had approached us and said, can we open up the working window to the contractor outside of the noise bylaw exemption? The whole idea behind that is to get the contractor in and out as quickly as possible. Obviously, the framework of the funding that they have as well, they have to meet certain thresholds and milestones at a certain date. So this was one of the sort of one of the tools that we'll have in our back pocket to facilitate those works being done as quickly as possible. But beyond that, it's sort of at a director level. The noise exemption will be at a director level, so we'll be able to revoke it if it's being exploited by the contractor. We'll also have communication. Our comms team is going to be working with the district as well to issue notices. In the contract, the district is also including a dedicated person that the contractor will have to have on call for any issues due to noise or deliveries or disruptions to the businesses. So that's sort of the solution that we want to have in our back pocket just in case there isn't any delays in coming to council when it's needed or when it's required, and we'll just have it ready to go if we need to have it there. So
Thank you for that. Councillor Renwick.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Michael, for the report. I'm really glad to see that we're being proactive and being able to allow them to do the work. My concern is, and we did speak about this morning at the sort of council review, what kind of messaging we're going to send out, not just to the businesses, but the people that live there as well, but maybe more so the businesses. So there is, I'm hoping, some kind of message that's going out, not just on a website, but directly to businesses.
yeah, we're actually having a meeting early February to discuss with the district what the responsibilities will be of each stakeholder in terms of messaging. So I can't speak specifically to what messaging will be given out, but I know that it'll be proactive and it'll be early as it can be. Unfortunately, the nature of the project, it is quite significant, and it could be a little bit of a burden to businesses, but the way it's been designed and the staging of it, we're all taking into consideration the impact it could have. And this is just, although it may seem counterintuitive to have contractors working through the night, it's the best way to get them in and out as quickly as possible. So.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that, Michael. And I'm glad to hear that we're going to be proactive and working with the district. It doesn't really tell you exactly what the scope of the project is. So are we doing blasting? Are they doing blasting? Like, how noisy is this going to get? That's maybe my question.
So we're leaving those are sort of project specifics that'll have to be determined at a contractor level. There's different technologies and methods they could utilize without blasting. We're not intending that there's going to be blasting, but I don't want to say there isn't. It's not in the plan. They're replacing sanitary sewers and water as well, and then we'll be working curb to curb, sidewalks, road, the whole right of way. So it is pretty intensive, yeah.
Thank you for that. And I'm glad you raised the question about communications. Of one thing we did learn about digging downtown, it was all about communications and working collaboratively. So you started by saying that, and clearly that's the same path we need to be on for this, right? I'm going to Councillor Clark, followed by Councillor Schumacher.
Thanks, Mayor Alcock. Nice to see you, Michael. I, of course, had a business on King William Street when we were doing digging downtown, so I've lived through that experience, and it was tough for sure. So I don't recall if at the time we were allowing the construction to happen at night or not. I don't believe so. So I'm glad to see that that's an option this time, because it will be hard on a lot of people there, and it's really important to get the job done as quickly as possible. So,
Councillor Schumacher.
Thank you. And Michael, you might not, you might not be able to answer all of this because I don't know exactly what the scope, as you said, from curb to curb. When we did streetscape, we were still having access to like sidewalks and stuff. So from an accessibility standpoint, because I know I got a lot of calls at that time that even though there were sidewalks, it was not fully accessible for people to be able to walk and maneuver those. Is that gonna be the case too in this particular one, or are we just not gonna, there's no walking, there's no that kind of thing?
So it's the intention that the contractor will maintain pedestrian access through the whole construction site, and also vehicular access to driveways and businesses when possible. Obviously, there's going to be some times where it's impossible, but the contractor is well aware of the expectation to maintain pedestrian access.
Councillor Stone.
So I'd just like to reiterate that we learned a lot during digging downtown, and we know this is going much farther than that. The communication is paramount, but also we had to make new connections to the businesses for their water lines, and that was problematic, and so many other things. I don't know if some of us that lived it and got the calls about it might want to participate in a meeting with the district over this. There are so many little pieces that we need to make sure we do it right.
So if I may follow up on that, I'm assuming, Michael, when you talked about you're starting with your meeting with the district, and I know that it wasn't just District Public Works as it is Huntsville Public Works. It was also communications and a whole myriad of departments that were engaged at the very beginning. And I'm assuming they will follow the same path as they did for digging downtown, because it is necessary. And hopefully your response is yes.
Yes.
Yes. But I think really I agree completely with you, Councillor Stone, that we learned from that. And it was a good project, but yes, there were issues throughout. And so we have the experience, let's just do it again, right? All right, I think I'm going to Councillor Fitzgerald, followed by Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Mr. Parniak, do we have previous experience with the contractor that's been awarded this, or has it been awarded?
So, through your chair, the tender is still in being finalized. It hasn't been issued yet. So this is early stages. Like I said, this report is intended just to have something in our back pocket, so we're not delaying the contractor. But it is very early on. So the contract has not been yet awarded.
Thank you.
Okay, and I just was informed that our communications team are already working with district communications. Reva's nodding, yes, they are. Thank you very much, and thank you very much. Councillor Clark, followed by Deputy Mayor Armour.
yeah, thanks, Mayor Alcock. Just wanted to comment on some of Councillor Stone's comments. I do recall when we were doing the digging downtown, one of the things that happened was we had an open house. I don't know if the town hosted it or if it was the contractor, but there was more than one open house meeting that occurred where residents and business owners could attend to get firsthand answers on the questions they had. And there was a lot of questions. There will be a lot of questions from residents and business owners with this project too. So I know I attended a few of those myself. as a business owner, and although I didn't like a lot of the answers I got, I appreciated that I was able to get an answer.
And thank you for raising that too. I know we all attended those, and again, I'm assuming, I'm glad you raised it, but that will be part of this project as well. It's a must, right? All right, Deputy Mayor Armour.
Thank you, Worship. And just to remind everybody, it'll all come to EPW at the district prior to the being awarded. So we'll get a full report at that time, who the contractor will be and start dates, finish dates, etc.
I think Councillor Cluche has said anything on this one, so I'm going to Councillor Cluche first, followed by Councillor Renwick, and then Councillor Fitzgerald.
Appreciate that. I think you'll find with this scope of project, there's a lot bigger, wider area that they're working. So I don't think there'll be like as much pedestrian problems to deal with. I mean, the stuff like the regular stuff is going to happen, but it's a pretty wide area that they're going to be working in, and a lot more room there than in between buildings right downtown. So hopefully we don't have as much problems.
I agree with you. I still think it's really important to do as much as we can, though, because people will want to know. Councillor Renwick, followed by Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for allowing me to speak 3 times. But the thing I just wanted to, it's just a comment, but unfortunately, there's no BIA in that area. And I mean, when we did digging downtown, there was a huge BIA component, and having that, that liaison between district and the contractors and all the workers, the BIA did a huge job. So they don't have that in that location, but I'm sure our comms will do a great job keeping people informed. They won't be on the street with them, but the chamber could help probably too. Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. And it is significantly different for that reason. Yeah. And finally, I think.
Thank you, Your
Councillor
Worship.
Fitzgerald.
I guess just going back to digging downtown, I think the most helpful thing for me when I was receiving calls and emails about it was the staging and phasing that was shared with everyone. That was critical for everyone to know when and where. So hopefully we can include that moving forward.
And if I can just comment on that. So there was the designer, the consultant working on the project has proposed certain phasing to limit disruption and to ensure that access to businesses is maintained. But the phasing will ultimately be up to the contractor. But obviously with town stake and district stake involved, we can massage that into what we need it to be. So.
Okay, I think Councillor Schumacher. Did you know, Michael, there'd be so much interest? It's all because it's your project.
And maybe this is not really something I should bring up here, but is there an opportunity with the district to relook when we repave some of those areas around like the turning lanes, say where Pet Value is and the mall and people coming in and out and all of that? If we're tearing it all up and redoing it anyway, is there a way to sort of talk with the district around how we navigate that portion of the road? Because I think there's been a lot of concern with that sort of stretch there and how turning lanes and stuff, the 2 lanes versus, yeah.
So there are some physical improvements being included. Particularly one that pops up is the exit out of the mall, turning left. Specifics haven't really been hashed out yet, but we are looking at improvements there.
That's great. So lots of information on this to come. It sounds like it's an exciting project in many respects. All right, great question. Thank you for that. All right, I think we've done it. I am going to call the question for those who remembered. I'm not reading it again, so I'm just calling it. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much, Michael. Okay, moving along to bylaws already. So I have a motion moved by Councillor Schumacher, seconded by Councillor Morrison. Be it resolved that bylaw numbers 2026-2 to 2026-9 inclusive be reported and passed this 26th day of January 2026. I'm not reading all of the bylaws because they are on your screen and they are exactly as they were in our agenda package. So any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that carries 2. Look at that. Very exciting. All right. So we are now moving. We don't have anything under previous business, and we don't have anything under new business. So we're moving to general information, starting with our District of Muskoka update. And the first one is the joint EPW and FCS meeting. And so I'll start with Deputy Mayor first, followed by Councillor Morrison.
Thank you, Worship. We started at 9 o'clock on the Wednesday, January 21st. It was a fairly quick meeting. It was done via Zoom. We had the report on the final report on the bin site transition plan, that all bins now have been removed. And everyone is either doing curbside pickup now or have to go landfill sites to, for the garbage. There was a couple delivery or delegated decisions made on water treatment, that were pretty straightforward. We did have a fairly lengthy discussion on the Ravenscliff Road, reduce the speed for drivers. If you remember, we had a petition come in. I think there's about 80 signatures on it. Because the district's now looking at a new policy on how they're going to direct these new requests. This one here is actually requested that before the policy is actually done, that we do something to prevent the speed on that area. So they're looking at some calming measures or possibly signage out that way to reduce speed, to remind people the speed they're doing, because it could take a few months before they actually get that done. So if it wasn't for Huntsville, that meeting would have been done in an hour, but we managed to make it an hour and 15 minutes.
Thank you for that. Are there any? Yes, Councillor Schumacher.
Just a quick one. You probably already have the answer, but when, like our lovely Snowmageddon there that we had, and they cancel garbage, you're supposed to have it out at 7, but they don't cancel till 9. Do they expect people to bring it in, or what is the? I'm assuming they don't, but I know I got a number of calls because everybody's saying I put it out before 7. Then we find out after I've already gone to work that they're not coming.
Yeah, yes, good question. You know, on the unfortunate part, it wasn't canceled till after a few of the garbage trucks got stuck. So then the routes, it could make them, so they decided to pull them off the road, and then they put out the notice of it being canceled. I think an important thing for people to realize that when it is canceled, you have to wait till the following week for recycle. Garbage will be now 2 weeks back to you. So they're not coming back the next day or picking garbage up the following week. They go right back to the regular rotation. Yeah. It used to be they'd pick it up the next day, but they don't do that anymore. They actually go back to your regular days. And you can put double out, yes.
Councillor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Worship, and thanks, Deputy Mayor Armour. I had a few contractors inquire if they're still taking black bags for contractor waste at the transfer stations.
I don't believe they are. If you bring black bags in, you're going to have to pay for them at a cost, I believe. So I'm not really sure on that one. I'd have to find out, but I believe that's what they're doing.
Would you find out for me and let me know?
I'll find out for you,
Thank
sir,
you.
and
I
let you know right
appreciate
away.
that.
But I'm pretty sure that
It's
black bags you have to pay for now.
yeah.
So I know if I go to the landfill with household garbage, it has to be in a clear bag, and and you go to the bins. But talking about the contractor bins where you pay tonnage for waste up top, I just wonder if it's different or the same process.
You know, I'll have to find out for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I gave up my contractor's license.
I have a feeling it might be different, but great. I think I'm going to, oh, sorry, Councillor Cluche. Yeah, you did, sorry. I'm losing track. I did
Would
so many questions.
either one of you happen to remember the numbers that Chair Lehman put out on Sunday?
Yeah.
They were
so
good. I just want everybody to know how.
reduction in household weights. Waste is just over 30%, and actually 99% on organics. So we're shy 1% of doubling our organics going to the landfill site.
Doubling our organics going to the compost.
Compost, yeah.
And 38% reduction, 38% reduction in household garbage. Yeah, amazing. And it was almost, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was almost overnight. Like it was very quick. Yeah. So I think they're still working on the numbers. Yes, that's right, yeah, yeah. I know, it's a really, it's an incredibly hopeful figure. And given all of the other controversy we've had around waste collection and recycling and all of that, that's a bright light in all of the rest. Councillor Morrison, do you have anything to add about FCS?
FCS was extremely brief, other than closed sessions, so not much to report. But I will say, follow up to the question about the black bags, it was January 1st of this year that they stopped accepting them. So that's official. And that's it. Nothing much to report.
Okay. The CAO just whispered in my ear that black garbage bags are not accepted at all. So you put your black bags inside your clear bag. No, ignore me. Ignore me. The mayor just said it. She just made up district policy. There's a fee. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. There is a fee. Sorry. All right. We have too many people weighing in, including me. That's very bad. All right. I don't think there are any other questions with respect to that. So we'll move to the joint CPSC, which is my half of the this committee. So CAPS along with health. And so I'll start. And CAPS, we started with a presentation from Dr. Norman Yan, who's one of the directors with Friends of the Muskoka Watershed. And he came to the district table to ask for support for a grant application for their ash program, which they've been doing successfully, collecting ashes from people's personal homes and spreading it in the forests that were devastated with acid rain for many, many years ago. So they're very hopeful that they will be successful in this application, which will provide money to do more collection, more distribution, more research as to how good this is as a program, and as well as accepting waste from commercial. That was the other area that they haven't been doing. So that was pretty exciting, and there was a lot of support from the committee for that. The other thing I thought worth mentioning, we approved the Muskoka Water Strategy update, and really great report, not that long, but what it does is we'll be working with district, all of the lower tier municipalities along the Muskoka watershed will be working with district on the implementation of the integrated watershed management strategy, as well as a number of our health quality indicators. So that was neat. What else that I thought would be interesting for our community is there was an update on the Huntsville Transitional Housing Project that will start in the spring here in Huntsville on Hain Street. The district has approved the addition of 5 transitional housing units, and we have an application in for an additional 7. So that's pretty exciting, and was causing some noise at our committee. All right, and that's what I have on the CAPS portion. No questions, so I'll turn it over to you, Bob.
Thank you. In reference to the ash, there was part of the discussion that if people weren't so inclined to take their ash to be used, as many of us have fireplaces, you can use it on your own property to make your trees more resilient. And it makes them, and it takes a very small amount of ash in a large area to help the trees be more flexible.
Resilient.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the Friends have guidelines if anybody is a little, wary about, well, how much do I put out and all of that stuff. Just phone the Friends, and they have all of that information.
As far as health services go, we had a presentation on ALC, which is the alternate level of care. So we have many people taking up hospital beds that really shouldn't be in the hospital, but we don't have other places for them to go. And so we've been part of a larger group that has been working on this, and the progress is coming along to find some success, and because it's very expensive to keep people in a hospital. We had a report on the Pines long-term care home on recent inspections by the ministry, and an update on tiered medical response from the fire departments. Medical response from the fire department. So when the fire department gets to an event, there may be some medical care that needs to happen before an ambulance gets there. So they're working together with the local fire departments. And that's it.
Okay, great. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, I can be very brief. I have 3 more things to refer to, but they're from December. So one was our Committee of the Whole Council meeting on December 15th, which was in the morning. And we had a very long discussion, very long, about the repair and rehabilitation of the Silver Bridge in Bracebridge. And as I said, very long because staff are recommending a full rebuild of the heritage component. There were 2 sections, and it literally was probably an hour and a half on that, and quite the debate. At the end of it, though, we approved the staff recommendation to go forward with the full cost of the proposed project. And so that was quite something. We also approved the concept that is being put forward by District Public Works along with planning for the development of servicing for priority growth areas. So basically doing a strategic plan for areas that are seen as as new growth areas within a municipality. So at the same time, they do a strategic plan for infrastructure requirements. And one would say, I thought we had been doing that for a while, but not on this level of this comprehensive way. So that's what we're doing going forward, and I think that's a great idea. We had, again, another lengthy discussion around our solid waste master plan and our bin site transition project. Again, lots of issues raised there, just as the ones we just talked about. We also approved the concept of doing head leases with the private sector using our MAHIP funding program. And so we'll see if we've had a number of interested landlords, developers across Muskoka who've said that they would be interested in entering into a head lease program. So this just gives them approval to start moving on that. So that's what we did there. And then we had the district council meeting where we, again, this is December, so we finally approved the 2026 budget for operating and capital budget, as well as the rate-supported budget. So it seems like so long ago. What else did we approve at that? I think that was basically it. Oh, and we finally approved the new committee structure, which is what we just referred to, the joint meeting of EPW with Finance and Corporate Services, as well as joint community planning services with health. And we're doing that until the end of term because all of the councillors seem to think that was a great way of doing things. Finally, I attended the Huntsville OPP board meeting on December 4th, and it was a really good meeting. We spent a lot of time talking about the Huntsville OPP Detachment Local Action Plan. And I believe we have that on our website for those that might be interested, because that's very interesting. And I think our board, which is made up of the mayor of Lake of Bays, along with the mayor of Huntsville, and a couple of citizen reps, 3 citizen reps, along with our detachment commander, is a useful board for talking about issues that arise around OPP in our community. So that's my update. Anything about any of that? Okay, so moving right along, as most people know, we just finished attending the Rural Ontario Municipal Association Conference in Toronto. It was held January 18th to 20th. And we had a number of meetings this time that the one that I probably enjoyed the most. It was very informal, but it was with the Ontario Northland and giving us an update as to where they're at and a lot of excitement. They're on track. They're on track. They're on track. And they'll start testing the rails, I think, in the next month or so. They'll be testing, so we'll see this nifty little train going through, and with every intention to have it in full service by early summer. I think that was the date. I think, hopefully, wishy-washy. Some of us thought they heard early summer. Some probably heard early fall, but it is this year. It is going to return, and it sounds like such an awesome bit of transportation that will be great for our community. I also attended a meeting with the Associate Minister of Housing to talk about a couple of our housing initiatives in Muskoka, including that transitional housing I just referred to in Huntsville, as well as another potential project also in Huntsville that is affordable / transitional housing project. So again, that's the kind of, when you go to these conferences, you have these delegations, you have 15 minutes to highlight things that are really important in your community. I think with that, I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Mayor Armour because you attended a couple of the other delegations.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the best Roma's conferences I've been to. I got to sit in and participate in a delegation to Minister Jones over the health hub for Bracebridge and area. So got an opportunity to also speak about Huntsville and our incentive programs. I sat in 2 delegations with the district, one to do with use of salt by private contractors and how it's getting into our waterways, and one about communal water systems. So it was really good. And the interaction between ministers outside was also fantastic, and to be able to, you know, our peers to be able to just talk about what's happening in Muskoka. It was a great conference.
I certainly echo that. We had a number of informal meetings that are often some of the best. Councillor Fitzgerald, anything to add?
Thanks, Your Worship. Lots of good takeaways, as there always is from these conferences, and you know, if you get one every day, that you're ahead of the game. I think this year, I was able to assist a lot of other municipalities with things that we'd gone through previously. So I've already had some follow-up calls, and it's nice that we have that just kind of reciprocal chat about things we've been through, and I know that I can reach out to them if we come into a similar situation. So connections made, and I think that it's so critical for us to do that. So, and I did enjoy a bit of fun with other councillors from around the district as well.
You know, on that point, I was thinking of a meeting that we had a number of months ago, 5 months ago, with the mayor of Whitchurch Stouffville, who wanted to follow up with us to talk about our Diggin' Downtown project because they were about to embark on that. And we met, I met the mayor at the last, I think it was AMO, where we had that conversation. So yeah, I absolutely couldn't agree with you more. And Deputy Mayor Armour.
Thank you, Worship. Just one more thing. If you hadn't had a chance to hear the Premier's speech, you should listen to it. It's probably one of the best speeches I think he's ever done. And apparently eats a lot of McDonald's food, but you should listen to it yourself.
I totally agree. And the best part of it was he went off script at least half a dozen times and had to pull himself back somehow. And that's what, he was quite funny. He was quite funny. Yes, you're right. No, actually, I think I might say it's a great speech, especially the off-script part. All right. Any questions? I don't see any. So we have council correspondence from December 1st to January 16th in our package. So we're going to move along to events and updates. We'll just start with the first one that I wanted to highlight was the Trails for Life Hospital Foundation's fundraiser. It's a snowmobile event. A lot of, probably everyone A lot of people know about this at this point. It's on February 7th from 12 to 3, and it will be the central focus will be at the Port Sydney Community Hall. Lots of people have signed up who are snowmobilers, but it's raising funds for both hospital foundations. The Port Sydney, Utterson and Area Chamber of Commerce is also involved. They've waived, I'm not sure what fees they're waiving, but they've waived some fees, and so have we as well, I believe. But it's open to everybody. There will be music, there will smoking hot barbecue is going to be there, providing food. I know that our MPP will be there and all of his staff, and our premier will be a special guest at this as well. So it's a big deal, and what they want most of all is a massive turnout from as many people in our community as possible. So that's pretty exciting. If I missed something on that I should be, okay. And then, as was alluded to by Councillor Renwick earlier, we have the Ontario 55 Plus Winter Games coming up. The opening night is February 3rd. Councillor Morrison, right? And I believe we're on tap to kick it off or something like that. We're expecting over 1,000 athletes, and we all know that with 1,000 athletes, you have many more family members and friends and whatever. 11 winter sports, 14 local venues, and 300 local volunteers. So that's pretty cool. And right here for me is the opening ceremony, February 3rd, Wednesday the 4th, day 1, all of the sporting events, and the middle night event that Councillor Renwick alluded to earlier, and then finally Thursday, February 5th, day 2, sporting events and medal ceremonies. Anything you want to add to that, Councillor Morrison?
No, that sums it up. I just want to encourage everyone to get out and be a part of it. We're going to see some world-class athletes competing right here. And the work that the volunteers have put into this has blown my mind. I really didn't think it could go this smooth, but it is. And the torch lighting is really cool. We're having the oldest competitor in the games is a Huntsville guy named Dave Millette. I believe he is 80. If I'm wrong, I apologize. And we have a young man named Owen McKay who is on the Team Canada track to Olympics for a kayaker, and he's rostered and getting paid by Team Canada every month to train. So Owen will be passing the torch to Dave, and Dave will light the torch. So that's going to be kind of cool. So come out, be a part of it. I'm excited. I'll be all 3 days, 24/7, going to as many events as I can. So come hang with me if you want to. It'll be a lot of fun.
Thank you for that. That's great. I just noticed I have another page here on the Trails for Life that I probably should mention. The free food, and I mentioned the live music, but skating and face painting as well. So for those families out there who just want to go bring their kids, it's going to be a really fun event. And beaver tails and cotton candy. So, and as I mentioned, special guests include Premier Doug Ford and MPP Graydon Smith. So got a lot going on beginning in February. So any other events or updates? Councillor Cluche.
I'd just like to do a shout out to our staff and operations. Over the last 3 weeks have been just phenomenal here. I was away for one where it was 30, but anyways, they've done a fantastic job passing on information, and our roads and our sidewalks have been really good. I got 2 calls and very just minimal stuff, and they were looked after right away. So great job by operations staff. Even our supervisors were running equipment. That's the dedication that they have. Thank you very much.
And thank you, absolutely. Thank you for saying that. I think that's great. And you're right. I haven't received a lot of calls around all of the snow. Unlike Toronto right now, I sent a message to someone today and I said, that looks just like Huntsville, right? Except not, Councillor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Worship. As you know, it all happens in Port Sydney. So the weekend following the Premier and our MPP's snowmobile hospital fundraiser. The Chamber of Commerce is hosting a fishing tournament, which is free. It's Family Day weekend, and you don't require a license. And the Lions is also having skating party with free hot dogs, hot chocolate, and there's some face painting and lots of skating and fun. So
it's a happening spot. We all know that, though. To your point, Councillor Fitzgerald, it is the happening spot. Any other events? Okay, seeing none. Very quickly,
Councillor Renwick and I on TSN on January 31st.
is that for the Croca Curl?
Well, no, it's the actual at the curling rink. TSN will be filming a celebrity curling match.
Oh, and you
And
two
Councillor
are
Renwick
both
and I are
curling?
on opposite teams.
Oh no! Well, you should talk
country,
about that.
Country
Yeah.
music star Tim Hicks will be one of
Wow.
the coaches or skips, and then he's on your team.
And we
I
need to
have
watch
Kyle,
that on
Kyle the
TSN.
Monster
Can we come
Nelson
and
as
see it?
mine. Kyle will be there for
Wow.
yeah, and a few other local celebrities from.
And we
Hunters
can all
Bay and
come and watch that.
I'm thinking you can.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, well
And
that's
apparently
good to know.
it is going to be televised on TSN when you see me
Wow.
fall
Can
flat on
hardly
my
wait.
face.
Would you like a massive crowd to watch Councillor Renwick?
Your worship, I have never curled a day of my life.
I was wondering, did you want a massive
I
crowd?
would love a massive.
I haven't curled since before COVID, so yes,
Okay.
this will be interesting for both of us.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you raised that. That's
Yes,
good. Thank you.
yes. You're
Thank you for
welcome.
that notice. That's good. All right, another event, another thing happening, and I think I'm attending the Croquet Curl event in Rivermill Park next Saturday. Yes, Councillor Fitzgerald, and probably we should move on after this.
this is actually a very important event. The Town Walkers has registered a team in the coldest night of the year again. The goal across Canada is to raise over $15 million this year. We've had great success in the past with our team. I think we usually end up in the top 15 of all the teams across Canada. Hoping to do the same. So if anyone has the willingness to join our team, please join. And if you don't want to join, you're always welcome to support us financially. The walk is February 26th and it supports the Table Food Bank. 28th, sorry.
Okay,
And thanks everyone who's joined the team so far. We're looking good.
no, and I'm glad you raised that. That's good. I did join last year. This year I might not be able to make it, but I'm glad you already started. I know that Director Mackenzie has already put out a bunch of emails on that. That's great. Good stuff. Good stuff. And congratulations on last year. I think you were one of the top fundraisers, Councillor Fitzgerald. The team. All right. The team. I know, it was awesome. So thank you for that. We're moving to flag raisings and clock tower lighting. So on Monday, January 26th, we have the clock tower lighting going red for Kawasaki disease awareness, and obviously at Civic Square. And then on Tuesday, that was today, because today's the 27th, right? All right, and then Tuesday is tomorrow, January 27th in Civic Square at 12:45. We have a flag raising for Crime Stoppers of Simcoe, Dufferin, Muskoka. And that's it for that. And now, I don't think we've got anything else. I'm moving right along to my next motion. Should we have all right, I think we should, before we go into closed, how about a 10-minute break? All right, 10-minute break. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We just had a 10-minute break, and I do have a motion to move into closed. It has been moved by Councillor Fitzgerald, seconded by Councillor Stone. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting be closed to the public, commencing now at 7 p.m. for the purpose of considering the following matters under Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001, subsection E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. 13.1.1 Confidential Report Development 2026-7 OLT Case Number OLT 26000049 2421 Ravenscliff Road, Shaley, CPPA 33 2025 HTE and B27 28 2025 HTE. And number 2, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose with respect to 13.1.2 Confidential Report OPS 2026-2 Consulting Services Update. All those in favor? And that carries. Right. Welcome back. If anybody's still watching, we do in fact have one motion coming out of closed. And I have it before me. It has been moved by Councillor Stone and seconded by Councillor Clark. Be it resolved that the Ontario Land Tribunal be advised that the town of Huntsville will not be participating in the appeal of Council's decision regarding CPPA 33-2025 HT and B2728 2025 HT. All those in favor? And that carries. And in fact, we have another recommendation out of closed. It has been moved by Councillor Stone, seconded by Councillor Cluche. Be it resolved that the recommendation contained within confidential report OPS 2026-2 be adopted. All those in favor? And that carries. I have a motion moved by Councillor Cluche, seconded by Councillor Schumacher. Be it resolved that confirmation bylaw 2026-10 be received and passed this 26th day of January 2026. All those in favor? And that carries. And guess what? Guess what? One. I have a motion moved by Councillor Stone, seconded by Councillor Fitzgerald. Be it resolved that we do now adjourn at 7:27 p.m. All those in favor? That